I once saw a photographer fighting a videographer, and it was a strange battle. The photographer had his quick flash and he was trying to blind him, but the videographer had these smooth panning motions and he was avoiding it, and nobody won that fight. We all lost just witnessing it. It was sad and it was not cinematic. But it doesn't mean if one guy wanted help that I wouldn't help him.
All I want is the perfect camera. All I want is the perfect camera.
So I feel like we don't talk enough about lenses on the channel, and today is going to be a very interesting comparison. Right now we're on the Canon C100 Mark II with the 24-105 24L lens, EF, original Mark I, of course, a gift, they might say. Thank you, my friend. We're going to compare that versus my primes and see what is the difference between zooms and primes. So drink in this image, 24-105. It's a zoom, but it's an L lens. I love the rendering of the zoom. I don't know if there's any pop factor to it. So let's switch to the 24 and then we talk about some stuff. Boom. So now we're on the 24mm 1.4 at 24. So nothing changed physically except the lens. Same Tonys. All right, first let's talk about this ridiculous journey I've been through over this past year. Basically, it started, I saw some angry photographer videos, and he was talking about microcontrast, and these are the best lenses for each system, and he has these lists. He's like, that's the best lens ever made, Zeiss 35, Tony 2, and it's like, okay. So like, I'm looking at all those lenses, and I'm like, I need some of them. I want to see what's this pop all about, and so I've been searching and finding deals and hunting them down, and I got the Voigtlander 58mm 1.4, and it's like, wow, that is a magical look. And then the Zeiss 85 1.4 and all these different lenses, the old 1959 Nikkor 105mm 2.5, and I'm like, okay, I have all these primes. Originally, I bought them Nikon mount for my Blackmagic with the speed booster, and so I was just getting some with hopes that Nikon would get their crap together and release something full frame, and then I have these lenses that I can use on both systems. But that dream is slowly dying in my heart because Nikon, you suck. And focusing on yourself manually is a pain that I started this channel with. That was the guilt trip that lived my life for me. It was having to do this like from about this distance. Oh, am I in focus? I can't see the screen at all. We're at 2.8 now. I tested them all, and I realized happiness is not there. I only need like one lens for that, and I already had it actually, the 85mm 1.2, so if I want to do a shot like this, which you'll see soon. But as you can see, next to that hobo bitch with a zoom, Tony 4, I'm a stop brighter with a prime on top of it. Life could be had for yours, but I've realized my favorite lenses are old Canon EF lenses. And so why have anything else or anything less? So that's why we have the Canon camera now to wield those. And then we're autofocusing and manual if I should so choose it. I'll probably do that on the 135 when we switch to it. Okay, now we're talking wide open, shutter speeds out the yin yang. Motion blur is my enemy. But now you're seeing the hobo fun life with Zoom Boy over there. We're 3D popping in a world we don't even belong in. And it's fun to have these lenses and stuff, and I've been having a lot of fun testing them, but now that I've tested most, like there's not a lot I'm really missing here. So like I have the Pinnacle now, but fun things to buy would be cameras. Cameras are more fun than the lens. Problem is, this is the best camera ever made, and the ZVE1 is the next best, and I already have everything, so there's nothing to look for. All right, we're on the zoom still. 85mm though, Tony 4, and then we're gonna switch to that 85 1.2 soon. Might as well help a hobo while we're here. So would you get the Sony Zeiss 55mm 1.8 over the more recent Sony 1.4 G Master or the 1.2 G Master? Also, that's two questions. So here's the deal. The G Master lenses are going to be sharp, but they're not going to have the magic. They're not worth it in my life. It depends what you're doing. Are you doing a music video? It's like sharpness. Nobody can even see 3D pop. They think you're lying when you bring it up. That doesn't exist. Yeah, only 2D world. This is their lives, photographers. 3D pop isn't real. I wish your mom wasn't real. And you wouldn't be here bothering me. So, if you want super sharpness, it's not like they're bad lenses, it's just for what you pay. I find it hilarious that the older, cheaper vintage touch lenses look better. They have a better quality, depth rendering, we all know. The ones that are in the 3D pop cult, we know. So it's like the Zeiss 55, I have a 50mm 1.4 in my cart, but it's the Zeiss, obviously. I would never go G Master. The price of it and the weight, and it's like, what the hell is that? Who would even do it? I'll tell you who would do it. No one. The real question you should be asking is, what's the best autofocus and stabilization performance I can get with a 3D pop lens? So like, there's obviously beautiful manual only vintage pop, but what are you gonna do with that? Not in all situations. You cannot do any slow motion street videography. Good luck with that. Or wildlife, that might be hard. There's a lot of things where manual focus is just not gonna work in your life. This, it would work. I could line myself up with this tree right here. Focused on this thing, missed it. I could have brought that to you, but a really good lens is versatile. So like if I wanted, say, the 85mm Batis for Sony, not only could I do this and it would pop a slight amount, maybe less than the one we're about to switch to, but it could do other things and it has stabilization in it, and it's just so much more versatile. And if I'm in my living room and I want to autofocus on myself like this, that's a pleasure. Inside, a pleasure, whereas it's a pain to use these manual lenses. Okay, now we're on the 85mm 1.2 at 24, side by side with that hobo scrub, zooming into like his future, which is failure, full of failures. We all know that. Huh? I bet you a prime, even at the same Tonys, is a better situation for us all. All right, rest of this guy's question. Also, is there a difference inside the lens between UK Canon Zeiss 55 and US version? Oh, what a boring second thing. I thought we were getting into some stuff here. Oh, what a boring bunch of crap. How the hell would I even know that? No one cares either. You wasted all our time. So it finally happened, my friend. I have sold the Sony a7S III. It is gone. It feels weird, but I have the ZV-E1. It's better in every single way. I don't even want to use the a7S III. When I see it on my shelf, I'm like, why would I use that? It's worse color science and does nothing better. Like, I don't have the wildlife lens anymore. What would I need it for? It's absolutely nothing. I didn't stop it down. I wouldn't do that. I came to a train track to show it to you. One's coming. So now we're at 1.2 versus Zoom Boy 24. Disgusting, isn't it? Just disgusting. But when I used that lens in my house, I was surprised at how just beautiful it looked. I was like, that's a nice look. Even though there's like not much background blur, it's just like a movie feel to it. I love the old stuff. And I'm starting to be slightly less insane and bloodthirsty for more gear. I don't need a bunch of stuff. In fact, I'm getting rid of most things just to have the select few best pieces to accomplish the work I want to do, which is slow motion street stuff, filming women who definitely want to be filmed, guaranteed. And that is fun. And then the wildlife setup for Nikon, but the plot twist of the century could still happen, and that would be if I am still in focus. Unlikely. I should have panned down. I'm getting smaller. There's no way I'm in the center focus box anymore. That's a bitch and a half. What if I sold the Nikon Z6 III and the 600mm Tony 6.3 for the Canon R5 II and the 600mm 11? Ew, disgusting to even say it, but would it be as good? No, but it would be more versatile. I don't love Nikon for this. That's why I'm trying to sell most of my Nikon lenses, because it's not really that great to use on the Z6. I don't love it. The color science is schizophrenic. Sometimes, like outside, it looks great, and then in the studio, it's like, what the hell is that orange shirt? Makes no sense at all. And the two hats were the same color outside. Explain that one. Why was it orange inside with the same color grade? So Nikon's confusing and I don't love them. So like I could totally see myself Nikon for Canon. And then Canon would be more versatile. I could do street videography with that, with these EF lenses. You'd be blown by men. And so it would be good times. And then the skin tones indoors, forget about it. You should forget. Let us do the last comparison. Okay, we're back to the zoom at its max 105 mil. Still Tony 4. Okay. No one cares about any of this. You know that, right? But when it comes to adapted lenses, let me just tell you the truth. They never work the same. It's never the same thing. You can say like, oh, EF lenses, you buy those and then you can adapt them to Sony, to Nikon. Just stick with that. No, you can't, because they just don't autofocus right, or some twerk happens where like glitches, or your video shuts off and you didn't even know it, and it's terrible. The only camera that you can use adapted are Canon without any flaws, except when you have like EF stabe, it's not going to be as good as like RF stabe syncing. So that's why I'm tickled pink to have this C100 Mark II, and it's like native EF mount. Like I don't even need a Canon adapter. Ridiculous. And it autofocuses just perfectly as long as you're at like Tony 6 or something, because it does not detect the eyes, your ear maybe. So let us switch to the final boss. That dual pixel autofocus is so damn reliable, I can't even stand it. We are now on the 135mm Tony 2, next to that hobo douche who eats corn only. I've seen him do it, just cob after cob. Costs him $7 a day, it's ridiculous. He's on a zoom, he's not a prime. We're both at Tony 4. I'm a little longer, 135. I'm longer, she said that once. We'll stop this one down to Tony 2 soon, but when it comes to this like whole adapted glass and picking your lens, because if you buy native mirrorless lenses, you're stuck in that system. You're like, where are you gonna go? Unless you're Nikon with the Megadapt, but we've seen it doesn't work the same. The IBIS doesn't work right, the autofocus can be jumpy, it's never gonna be the same. So like you kind of have to just pick your system and dive into it. Canon lost me, yes, but you know who finds its lost child? Canon. I can't guarantee it, but he could have found me. And that's good time. So it's like the only thing with the 3D pop, if you're picking a mirrorless lens system, you have Sony with their Zeiss lenses that autofocus, so that's a nice little mix. Nikon has their vintage kind of lenses with some pop, the 40mm Tony 2, so it's like, okay, you got something. Canon is the one that's like, ooh, the RF lenses, there's no balance. It's all just clinical sharpness across the board. Even their cheap stuff that you would think, oh, a low element count, cheap 50mm 1.8, it's all flat. It's all this ton of shit. It's bad news. You're a scarecrow in a field at that point. So it's like, that's not great. Fuji has some 3D touch, but then you're APS-C, and you got weird, questionable autofocus. Uh-oh. You know who doesn't have questionable autofocus? Canon in 2014. Have you ever seen Fuji perform like this? No. Will you ever? Zero chance. So it's a gamble. It sometimes works fine. I've had it work fine. It just seems to be getting worse and worse. And then like Panasonic has the Leica glass, there's definitely 3D pop autofocusing options for each system actually. Just Canon's the only one. Wow. So you have to go EF, but then they adapt just fine. I guess you could just pick any system and none of it would matter. Just pick any lens you liked, side by side with that guy. It's a nice lens. Doesn't matter, none of this matters. The real thing that matters is don't come to a train track in a parking lot where people are shopping and talk about nothing. Have something better prepared. People might watch to the end, but nobody did this time. So while my favorite looking glass might be Voigtlander, but none of it autofocuses ever. Now I can't see the screen anymore to tell if I can do this full body shot that I wanted. I love Voigtlander glass, but you suck, man. It's really a pain in the ass to use, unless for this type of shot. But if I want to actually get a bunch of different kinds of content with slow motion, autofocus is very, very handy. My 21mm Voigtlander, I don't think you can beat that for in studio, but it's such a pain to use, and I wondered if it was worth it, and it wasn't. That's what I've come to conclude. The 3D pop lens, it does look better, but the autofocusing version looks kind of as good, and it autofocuses, and it's fun to use. So like this type of video, with all the important walking towards and away from the camera, could that have been brought to you by Squarespace with a manual lens? Am I in? Oh, I'm so tall. So the answer is, no one cares. So who won today's battle, my friend? The Zoom or the Prime's 24mm Tony 4? We were talking like that for a bit, and then we switched wide open to a Prime. The difference there was immaculate and amazing. Then we went back to the Zoom, zoomed on into 85. It was a decent shot. You can't complain with that shot. But then we had the 85mm Prime, which destroyed it utterly. Wide open, oh my goodness. Too much tone, I get it. I'm with you. And then we zoomed into 105, which is a hot darn miracle that it was even allowed. That's quite the zoom range, I gotta be honest with you. I'm liking that lens more than I thought I would. And now we're at the 135, Tony 2 Prime. One of the best lenses ever made. Very happy with these Canon lenses, but this zoom, it's like, I wanna try to vlog with it. 24mm, boom, and then the zoom, 105, like, yeah, I get you zoom freaks. It's a nice little thing to have. I have a little thing. It's down right. So my take-home message is go out and shoot more. I'm starting to focus on that. Okay, I know what I want to film. Now go do that. Go create something beautiful. And like, you already have the gear. Stop lusting. I'm still gonna lust a little. Come on. Come on. Let's hold hands. But not like make it your life. And like, I don't spend money. I make it. So I'll leave. How you doing? You doing anything but coin? That's nice of you. Subscribing for more videos, you know?